So this is a code explanation in context to the guideware, especially on the Gosu whenever we are writing on. This code that I'm explaining today on the Gosu editor about the rating plugin structure, because whenever there is any rating process, generally we start usually with the implementation of rating plugins. These engines calls for the plugins, right? So when they are going to iterate any coverage cost or something of that. So in the process of understanding about the uh, rating plugin structure, so this is a basic example I'm taking, which is about the premium calculation. So a simple logic where we need to calculate the base rate, which is multiplied by the modifiers like driver's age, etc. All that. In regard to that, so this is the code where we have initiated like package dependencies. The first one is wherein we can see, right? So there are package dependencies where we have initiated here, right? So package dependencies, everything were initiated. So these defines majorly about the kind of namespaces which will be matches to the folder structure in the guideware configuration whenever we are working on. At the same time, this also imports the external classes like entity dot policy line. At the same time, whatever the kind of data model entities like any policy lines or policy period cost. So everything will be comes under the package independencies. This is what the first one that we do it. So the next about the classes part, right? So this is where generally the classes definition, right? So here we can mention it because whenever we are implementing the rating plugin, we need to understand about the policy center that whatever the kind of classes that we can generate as well as the kind of registry in the plugin registry so that we can handle the rate buttons, right? So etc. Everything will be involved in it. The third one about the override part, as in when we can see override functionalities, which is an entry point for the rate period. Because in context to this part is concerned here, right? So this is the point, right? So this is the override period. Whenever there is any kind of root objects for any kind of current transaction, something like submissions or renewals, or at the same time, whenever the policy, when we are updating, so policy can have multiple lines also. So let's say auto, home, right? So at the same time, or any one policy. So that make sure the loops must ensure every line is processed further. That is where generally this entry point will be used for. Next about the core logic, as in when we are mentioning about, this is where the core logic that we have mentioned, including the coverages, etc., all that. So this majorly engine looks at very every coverage, let's say liability or any comprehensive or collusion coverages, which are attached to the line of business, right? So normally rating usually happens at the time of coverage level. Hence, we are need to understand the coverage logic, and we have to update the coverage logic over here. Next about the data retrieval and calculations. The data retrieval calculations where we have taken here, right? So here we have updated all these. Right, so all these things, right? So we have updated all the final premiums, right? So rate base rate we have, rate modifiers that we have. At the same time, branch primary named insured we have, account contacts we have. At the same time, we have even final premium, which is equal to base rate, which is about the modifier part, right? So all these things that we are having, right? So these are all the final premium part. So this base rate, whenever this will come from a rate table, normally this base rate, we can gather it from the rate table, look up, but there is any kind of hardcode start position that we want to be mentioned. So we need to update the branches, which is common to get any kind of policy period, etc. Along with this, when we want to update any kind of notice, any kind of price statement, any kind of primary statement wherein calculating the final premium, wherein final premium which is equal to base rate is about the modifier, everything will be comes under. This is where data retrieval and calculations will be done here. Next about the persistence part. So persistence part where here we have updated, right? So this is what generally the persistence is, everything will be covered here. So in this persistencies and all, wherein the cost of entity, okay, for example, any new person auto cost like line bundles and all, so which is very critical. So, okay, so whenever we are calculating a number, we must create a database records, etc. for a cost entity. Next, about the line bundle where whenever we wants to update any kind of new cost objects in the same transaction package, at the same time, this can be represented even for the rest of the policy also. Next, about the actual term, right? So actual term amount versus actual amount. This is what the point was. So this term amount basically the price of the complete year. Okay, so price of the complete year, including actual amount, which is prorated basis, right? Prorated price we are taking. Consider if the policy is only for 6 months, generally prorated databases, prorated will be taken into account. Last but not least, setting coverages, you can see, right? So setting coverages where we are linking with the kind of amount that we have taken, right? So either it can be in dollars or it can be in Indian rupees or anything of that kind. So we can take those into consideration, right? So we have to link the amount to the specific coverages so that whenever there is any UI that we are updating, so user interface understand where this is to be displayed and it will be presented in there itself. So this is how whenever we try to understand about a particular code, right? Let's say that about this is how generally we should understand whenever we are working on the Gosu programming being into Guidewire development.